Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Future of Insights webinar that I'm opening with you now. My name is Daan Versteeg. I'm the country manager for Ipsos in the Netherlands. And with me today, I have Wim van Sloten and Reineke Reitsma. Wim is the director for the Market Research Association of the Netherlands, the MOA. And Reineke is the head of data and technology in Ipsos. Today, we'll be discussing with you the future of insights. In the presentation, that will be about the past, the present, and indeed the future of insights. Next slide, please, Reineke. We present today with you a lot of insights that we collected in collaboration with MOA on the state of the industry, of the insights industry in the Netherlands. So with me, I have Wim van Sloten, who will talk more about the present, the past and the present of market research. Reineke Reitsma, head of data and technology for Ipsos in the Netherlands, and myself, Daan Versteeg, country manager. Wim, welcome. Thank you for your time for making today's webinar. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Dan. I'm glad to be here, and of course, a warm welcome as well from the MOA side to all the listeners. And for those who don't know me, I'm Wim van Sloten, and I'm the managing director, as Dan said. So he didn't lie this time, and never, in fact. In the MOA, we represent clients and agencies, so that's important for the view and why we are doing what we are doing. The MOA stood for, you can say, was market research. I say stood because the MOA has broadened its scope in recent years. If you could previously say that active data collection was leading to join the MOA, that focus has been changed. Not only questionnaires and expert interviews, focus groups, etc., but also passive data like BI, CRM data, etc., has become part of our profession. You can say we are now talking about an integrated approach of insights. So for that reason, we prefer to talk about data and insights, and not anymore only about research. Our field has become much broader due to the development of data science and data analytics. Research, data science, and analytics has become part of our profession, so I said, and passive data is another thing. Passive data is added to the active data collection, and passive data says something about the source of the data. Data science and data analytics, also part of the new world, say something about how to create insights out of these passive and active data. That change and these new developments we have to integrate, and that's our vision, and that's what we want to develop in the near future. That's our playing field, and our playing field has changed. The players are different, the sponsors are different, the public is different. It is a new world, and that's our vision. But what do the clients feel about that? And what about the traditional agencies of market research? And do they have the same approach as these clients? We have discussed these questions with Ipsos, and they supposed to do research, as our business is, and they talk with agencies and with clients. And we were, of course, wondering, do they have the same feeling about this future? The research outcome of this research of Ipsos will be presented by Renske Reineke, and she will guide you through the research results, and I hope that with this presentation the future of insights has become a bit closer to you and to me. For the MOA, this is more or less the beginning of transformation into a new era of data and insights. Reineke, the floor is yours.
You're still on mute, Reineke.
I was so conscious about it, and then I forget, of course. Thank you so much, Wim, and thank you all for joining. It's really a pleasure to talk to you about the changing role of market research and the future of insights. My name is Rijn Krijtsma, as Daan mentioned at the beginning, and I've joined Ipsos as Head of Data and Technology in September. I have a long track record in the market research industry, and I actually started in 1993 at Market Response, so Wim and I go a long way back. But I also spent a lot of time investigating today's topic, the future of research, writing about it, speaking about it at conferences, and specifically in my role as research director at Forrester. And over the past years, I've constantly felt like both companies and agencies didn't feel or didn't see the urgency to change. But the pandemic certainly put some pressure on that. And as one of our clients recently said, in this fast-changing environment, it's more important than ever for companies to redefine, refine, and constantly adjust their strategy to meet fast-changing consumer behaviors. And companies are increasingly aware that they need to stay on top of their game in order to keep or create a competitive edge. And the ever-growing availability of data sources, as well as the latest scientific developments in data science, neuroscience, behavioral science, it all brings new opportunities to better anticipate people's needs, identify growth areas, forecast demand, and realize efficiencies. And we have to keep in mind that market research is only part of that puzzle. And that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So creating more data is not necessarily the solution to the challenges companies face or the expectations companies have of their CMI team. It's more about integrating insights from a variety of data sources. And as the availability of data and the sophistications of models evolve, we see that business stakeholders and leaders want a complete picture of consumer preferences and expecting that surveys will provide one of many data inputs rather than forming the backbone. And this represents a big shift for consumer market insights functions. Companies that are at the forefront of data integration and connected insights have placed a strong priority on developing and nurturing their data ecosystems. Ipsos did a lot of research on this in the past years, and we observed many differences in how companies structure their data and analytics teams. With a wide spectrum of approaches, some people completely go in-house, in-source, and others actually fully outsource all analytics to external partners, where they just focusing on activating the insights. We also learned that there's no wrong or right approach. The best solution depends actually on how your company is structured, the industry you're in, the role CMI plays in your organization, the amount of data that is available, and most importantly, of course, the budget and the skills that are available to build this in-house versus outsource properly. Another thing that we were witnessing in our conversations with some of these insights leaders that were taking a strong and strategic lead within their organization, they were addressing challenges and democratizing knowledge and recommendations through collaborative knowledge platforms. So sharing the data in one knowledge platform. This comes with a number of challenges that CMIs never had to deal with before, including data governance, which is a huge topic. And just a short definition of data governance is that it covers availability, the usability, the consistency, data integrity, but also data security. And it includes establishing processes to ensure that the data that is available is actually available to the right people and is available to the in the right way to the entire organization. So at this moment, data governance is and maintenance is mostly part of BI teams, and market research is actually just one of the suppliers of data. And I recently attended a CDO, a Chief Data Officers Conference in Amsterdam, and I shared a table with a couple of CDOs. And they mentioned that they struggle tremendously with consumer questions coming from the business and how to answer them. They have the data, but they have problems putting the answers into context. But also that research data gives them a lot of headache. CDOs or global CMIs that actually have a data center, they prefer to collect data in a comparable way and create a data lake with clear data governance. However, local businesses and the countries often have unique local needs. So they were saying, so either you support those local needs and you create a data monster, or you force the local divisions to use these templates, but as a result, they might go rogue and they buy their own software, they buy their own data, and there's no common point of view. So that's a huge topic in the CDO land, is how to include research data into data lakes. And I think it's important for us as CMIs to understand that, and to understand that mindset and the challenges that they face, because then you realize that there's unique skills around, and also you have to advocate your unique skills around translating data into insights. So think beyond survey data, think beyond research data and qualitative data. And I think also a mindset change is that you have to start trusting other data sources. That's often not representative or complete. So the objective is to answer business questions in a more holistic way. And that's something that Ipsos calls consumer consciousness, putting the consumer at the heart of every decision, irrespective of where your data comes from. So at Ipsos, we developed this model, the consumer consciousness model, and it's built around 3 components: collect and connect, generate relevant insights, and activate and learn. And these 3 components actually have 6 subgroups. In collect and connect, it's collect the right consumer data and connect this consumer data. In generating relevant insights, that's all about smart analysis of data. And then the third one, activate and learn, is about democratizing insights, drive activations, but also create a feedback loop. And only when companies master data maturity full circle, they are well equipped to be fully consumer conscious and put that consumer at the heart of their business. And for market research, a part of market research department is actually manifests itself at 2 different levels. Your company has to become consumer conscious, and your own department has to become consumer conscious. So it puts a lot of emphasis on closing the loop, bringing insights into the organization as well as into the knowledge platform. So as Wim said, sorry about that, to understand the level of consumer consciousness and customer centricity, data maturity of consumer insights functions, we partnered with MOA in the summer of 2021 to survey Dutch market research intelligence professionals on the role of data in that journey towards customer centricity or consumer consciousness. So we interviewed about 150 customer professionals, customer insights professionals, both on the agency side as well as on the client side. So how far have we come? This is going to be a little, oh, there's already, I think there's a poll already. Was that launched? Quite interesting, because you're actually more pessimistic than reality, and I thought the reality was already quite challenging. So let's see how it goes. So it's about 37% for a clear data strategy. It's 35% for an integrated platform, and it's 31% for an effective architecture, and most of your answers were around 25%, both for the integrated data management platform and an effective architecture. So, as I said, you are even more pessimistic than the reality is, but even this reality is, in my eyes, quite challenging, because that means that in most companies, market research data and other data sources are still very siloed. And this results in misaligned messaging, guidance to the organization. And sometimes we work at Ipsos with global companies, and it happens quite regularly, actually, that a client reaches out to do a specific type of study, and that we tell them that this type of study actually already was executed for that same company in another part of the world. And that's even within the market research department. So talking about misalignment. And when I was interviewing C-level executives about their biggest challenges with data, this was always what came up. They said it was inconsistency in the advice that they're giving from different parts of the organizations that made them distrust data. Because what data to trust and act on if you get different numbers from your forecasting team, from your sales team, from your data science team, from your BI team, from your market research team. So as a result, they often went with their gut feeling instead. And I think that's one of the major challenges that CMIs face in companies. So with that, let's go back to the consumer consciousness model and dive into the three components: collect and connect, generate relevant insights, and activate and learn. So let's look at some numbers. So the first one, collect and connect. And we see that Dutch companies are doing reasonably well on the collection of data. And with it then, that's on data availability. About 48% of client-side researchers state that they have access to consumer data from a variety of sources. So CRM data, marketing research data, sales data, e-commerce browsing data, social data, well, you name it. However, the integration into one consumer platform, as we saw before, is lagging behind significantly. And only 1 in 3 of them feel their consumer data is well integrated in one consumer database. And as I said before, without this fundamental first step, results will always be fragmented and suboptimal. So when we look at the second step, generate relevant insights, when we're looking at that one, we see that less than half of Dutch client-side insights professionals say they use data science to systematically, so the keyword here is systematically create fresh consumer insights, which means that in most cases, the process isn't standardized or automated. And manual curation is also mostly done on a case-by-case basis, survey by survey, with only 44% stating that they use manual curation systematically for creating fresh consumer insights. And then for the last component, activate and learn, there's actually most room for improvement on the client side. And as one respondent in the survey said, we have to make data, information and insights really actionable and accessible to all employees in order to make it truly valuable. I think that's a great summary of this part of and the activate and learn overview, because yes, that is true, but it's also the hardest to do. Many respondents make remarks about how hard it is to advise beyond the numbers and to add that value, because sometimes internal stakeholders are not really looking for that context and they just want a number to put in there to prove a point. So companies that score low on activation lack a common understanding of the customer, and CMI is rarely seen as a strategic function. So that third component around activation, learning and closing the loop is extremely important. And if it's because consumer data and recommendations, if they're not broadly communicated internally, or they're not shared in a structural way, or your users don't know where to find it, it's often unclear the value that market research adds. And as I said, hardly seen as a strategic function. This should be a #1 priority for organizations to fix. As everyone who has ever done a CPR training knows, you need to treat first, that kills first. Or in this case, focus on what matters most to build a future of market insights that's more than order takers and data farmers. That means that although the market insights industry needs to get its foundation in order and work on an integrated data approach, it also needs to understand needs and wants of the people they work with to really drive consumer consciousness. Socializing data, democratizing data, activation, creating that feedback loop is the key to have the company use and act on insights. And only research that's being used adds value. This can be through technology and platforms, but I also would encourage you to build relationships. Step one you can start with today is to invest in relationships with people, key stakeholders in your organizations and outside of your usual suspects. Reach out to your data engineers, the BI team, the CDO that I mentioned before, or the strategy consultants. Because our research shows that it matters. Of all the questions asked, you see a grid here that we put together. At the bottom, you see less important to the organization to very important to the organization. You have drive consumer consciousness at top and does not drive consumer consciousness at the bottom. And it shows that socializing insights is the most important one from the client perspective in being very important to the organization and driving consumer consciousness. And Stephen Gans from PepsiCo recently mentioned in an interview in Research Live, they developed a tool called ADA, named after Ada Lovelace, which is an in-house platform that collates all research globally and gives access to everybody in the organization to all research outcomes. And is that one of the key drivers to change for our insights function in the past couple of years was to become more than just an insights function, a support function, and we did it through digitizing of large parts of that function. So they now can act as a strategic advisor to the rest of the organization. But as I said, not many organizations are at that level yet. And also, one of the interesting things that we did, so here's the same graph that I showed you before, but now with the dark blue, is the view that agencies had on how far along and what's important to the client. And you see that there's actually quite a difference in where these sub-components of the data consumer consciousness model fall. And you see that from the agencies, and they rate data connectivity much higher than socializing data. For them, socializing data is, they feel that it does not drive consumer consciousness. So Dan will talk about this disconnect later and how that can create functions between agencies and clients as they have different drivers for success. So agencies must explore on where and how they can add value beyond the data. For example, Pavi Gupta, who's VP Consumer Insights and Business Analytics at SC Johnson, he said in a recent interview, having just data is not good enough for our organization. You also need people who can do storytelling with the data, who can connect the dots and go deeper into the whys. You need people to drive change management through a mix of curiosity and empathy, because that helps people to believe what the data is telling them. So if we go back to that C-level executive who doesn't know which data to use, you need people to help tell that story and to believe through that mix of curiosity and empathy. It's very natural for agencies to think in research methodologies and solutions. And that's how most of us are organized. Is it quant or is it qual? Should we offer segmentation or not? And similar, we see at the CMI side, the client side, researchers that we approach agencies one project at a time. So we miss the holistic view. But we, as CMIs, need to work together and become strategic partners. And because we need to start building on information that's already there and use research to fill in the blanks. Think strategic, not fast. So my takeaway as an ex-consultant is that researchers should act more as consultants and think more about the strategic business question that needs answering and the strategic decisions that need to be made before starting to think of the type of research that we're doing. For many CMIs on both client and agency side, this is actually a mind shift in the way we approach projects and the way we work together. But I think it's key for the long-term success for market research as an industry. So Ipsos published a number of Future of Insights reports that give guidance on how CMIs can become more strategic and how agencies can support that journey. And Dan will tell you more about how this thinking can elevate the overall industry. Dan, over to you.
Thank you very much, Reineke, for bringing across the message of what consumer consciousness is and what drives it. Of course, everybody who's still with us on the call, there is more to consumer consciousness than the study of the state of the industry. So if you want to join our conversation on what consumer consciousness is and how to drive it, this actually is an invitation for you to join that conversation. And I will explain a little bit more about why we are doing this and how we want to bring things together. But maybe for myself, I want to share with you a key takeaway from the study that we did, something that originated not just in the summer last year, but already, I think, a year and a half ago, together with Douwe Rademakers, who works as Ipsos as the global market strategy and understanding leader. We sat down at the time to think about a holistic vision of how to bring consumer insights back together and how to integrate all the kinds of data that you can have today to drive insights from. For me, a key takeaway from this study is that consumer consciousness is that holistic vision because it brings human and data insights closer together. Success sits in connecting the data and socializing the insights, right? That's what we saw. And there's a different view from the agency side and from the client side in that. I think that what I can sort of safely say from the high level, that the road to success is paved by three major building blocks. First of all, synthesize. Maybe Reineke, you can click through. Synthesize, so bring together the different data sources that in conjunction provide new and powerful insights. Tell stories, right? The CMI function is changing. Reineke explained it already a couple of times, and I think also at the start, Wim raised the same point. It's changing and it includes a mix of roles now. First of all, maybe the change manager that creates a culture that fosters fact-based decision-making. And then the lyrics translator that inspires data and insight specialists with the business questions. And the knowledge manager that provides compelling narratives that impact the business. Basically, maybe doing new research or curating existing research or combining all kinds of knowledge, both from research and other sources of information and insight. And then thirdly, I think it's about strategizing. So basically creating linking insights generation to the most relevant business outcomes and providing a strategy to get the insights in place to drive that business outcome into a better direction. We believe, I think the people in this call, that it's an exciting journey that we are on towards consumer consciousness. And it's, I think, a journey that brings us into the future of insights. And in the next 5 or 10 minutes, I would like to explain how to get success by sharing a couple of points of view with you, right? So the concept of consumer consciousness, I think, is a very simple and effective concept. It's about customer obsession that you can attain when you're consumer conscious. It improves the way that CMI functions in organizations and insights agencies work together because it aligns towards achieving better business outcomes. It leverages insights innovations that are available already today to everybody that needs them. And it also enables us to discuss what is required to transform the way that we work in the industry. So between agencies and agencies with clients and clients internally in their organizations. So the CMI function in there. And finally, there's a lot of knowledge required to transform towards that future of insights. As Ipsos, we've worked really hard to provide our view on what needs to happen. And we're sharing that generously with you in the coming period. Maybe, Reineke, you can go to the next slide. I mentioned to you that consumer consciousness is a simple and effective concept, right? So, and my key point is here that customer obsession, customer centricity, really at the heart, customers at the heart of your business is more easily attained when you're consumer conscious. Maybe, Reineke, you can click through. Imagine what if your organization would be fully consumer conscious, enabling your business to completely put the interest of your customers at the heart of its decisions. Maybe you would allow yourselves to join me for a minute in a daydream. So please close your eyes for a minute and imagine with me, what would success look like? I will not close my eyes, but I hope you will. Would it be beautifully designed products and seamless service experiences, right? Drawing maybe from a concept for a new product feature that your marketers found, leveraging advanced natural language processing of social media posts or voice to text verbatims from your call center agents. You can do this already today. And how does it feel to have customers raving about their renewed experience, sharing with you through all channels that they endorse, know, promote, or advocate what you are doing, even before you pick it up in your NPS tracking? Eyes still closed? What would it do with staff to be able to really connect with your clientele? What if you could train your staff, again, to be more empathetic, allowing them to hear, see, understand, and experience your customers today? That's an integrated part of our human and data insights approach. How do you think in the end it would make your shareholders feel if they know what all that customer obsession is doing for them? It's paying them actual dividends. And take the example of empathy, the point that I just raised. If you don't take my word for it, believe the data. It's been researched by a global institute. 6% higher earnings are there for companies who get empathy right. So maybe now you can open your eyes again. Again, you maybe click on for the next points on this slide, please. We saw in the report that companies think differently than agencies about what drives consumer consciousness, right? So remember, clients stated that socializing drives it, and insight providers state that connectivity does. I believe that these two are symptomatic of a decade of driving insights generation processes to deliver faster, better, and cheaper insights simultaneously. Insights providers have been looking to grow through specialization mainly. To grow, they need to connect different data sources and insights today to continue to impact the business outcome better. And this way, they can help the CMI function to deliver better insights or get a bigger bang for the buck, or probably both. Now, the CMI function in the companies is changing, and the new paradigm for insights to survive in agile ways of working is through de-siloing and better socializing of existing knowledge. Now, what happens to the collaboration between insights providers and their CMI counterparts if we would all align around the business outcomes that can be impacted better when we work within a transformative culture of strategic collaboration? This is important. We have to work together to transform towards those better business outcomes. And I think if we do that, it will improve the way that CMI functions in organizations and insights agencies work together, because they work all towards the business outcome. But it means something, maybe next slide, Heineke. It means something in the way that we collaborate, right? Earlier I also mentioned that consumer consciousness leverages insights innovations that are available to everyone already today. Now, of course, when you see a country manager taking the stage, you expect a sales pitch. Yes, that's in part true, but let me address a key point that is not just me, but it's the entire industry. What is needed to enable consumer consciousness is already on offer today. You need to get out there and understand all these things that are available to you inside the businesses, inside the brands, again, and see what is available to you. You need to get out from the silo and into the strategy here, though, because if you want to go to the future of insights, you need to connect the data on the one side, to synthesize, to strategize on how to bring insights better together by joining all the different tools that you have, and to better socialize and share the stories by telling them in the right way to your audiences. And that's where you need to have a strategic vision on leveraging all the tools that are out there. But talking about the past and the present, of course, we continue to embrace the conventional arts and science of human insights, because you need a human to understand a human. Practicing these arts and sciences helps you to answer the key insights questions, right? So which provide you with the insights, the rich insights in key audiences, which is us, humans. We have enhanced many of those traditional insights with data science and data insights, basically to bring you human insights on steroids. That's the key thing about what's happened in the past. But we, Ipsos, and our fellow companies in the industry also harbor a suite of innovative data analytics and advisory services. We have conversational and visual data at our fingertips from social media. We mine it with proprietary software for insights to drive branding, innovation, communication decisions, all of those. There are beautiful platforms to help you gain high quality insights faster. They can be do it yourself, they can be do it together, or they can be fully bespoke and as managed service available to you. Depends on how you structure your insights function in your business. We've deployed a strategy consulting practice. It's rooted in insights generation, so it's completely different than what you find with the Big Four or the other strategic management consultancies out there, but it is run by former McKinsey partners. We leverage really smart brains inside our organizations that can help you activate, socialize insights on your behalf, or help you to do it yourself. And we help you to be the knowledge manager and insights curator to perform your new transformed role better. So there's a lot to gain from having that strategic look on the industry and seeing what's out there today. Maybe next slide, Reinier. Some slides ago, I mentioned that consumer consciousness enables us to discuss what is required to transform the way that we work today in our industry. Partnership is key. Investing in each other will create win-wins. I love, of course, a little bit of competition. I love a lot of competition. I used to be national champion in basketball, so I really do. I'm okay with that. But I'm afraid that the industry has become perhaps a bit too transactional. We invest in Ipsos so much in RFPs, and maybe I think if we do it, it means that also our counterparts do it. It feels a little bit, to me, like a waste, because I'd rather invest all that time in understanding your business better and collaborating more deeply with your organization. Maybe it's a bit of short-term thinking to have procurement lead your insights investment. On programs, yes, it might be good to get a good feel and comparison, but we also see it happening more and more in ad hoc or in small-scale programs. And of course, we know that many clients need to drive costs down, and they do so via per project pitching and procurement policies, and it was okay for a while, but now innovation overall, I think, is starting to suffer a little bit on this. And in-depth insights and research competence is harder to come by. Ask everybody in the industry. Global skill has a value, right? And it needs to sort of bring that value to you more locally. I think it's important for us to do that. But don't let go of all that value that companies that sit around the globe have and that they can bring to you through innovation. And again, last but not least, we sacrifice a small, well, army is probably not the right word at this time, but a small group of people per year to work on proposals for you that you also ask from everybody else. I have a bit of history in media, and I sometimes wonder, why are we not treating pitching in market research a little bit more like media? Because we also have research audiences, people that we need to ask the questions to, that are becoming scarcer and scarcer. And we need to keep those sources of insights and data intact. And businesses that need to be understood and categories that we need to invest in with deeper syndicated solutions to continue to provide everybody with the knowledge and the insights that they require. So I hope that we can move towards more of a focus, maybe Reinier, you can click through, a focus on the strategic impact of insights, which require a longitudinal business acumen, a good, deep and solid understanding of your business. Future-proof connected insights, which require connected platforms. They require the connectivity, which should be a table stake. Seamless processes, which require integration of the ways of working in agile ways of working between agencies and the clients. And mutually beneficial partnerships that provide win-wins, so you can have that not reasonable expectation of an innovation that you do together, which costs everybody a little bit of money in the end, but you can do it if you have a bigger portfolio that you can spread that in as a overhead. Now, of course, we've talked about the way that we should work together, and we've talked a lot about the vision of consumer consciousness and the state of our industry. And the knowledge I told you required to transform is available in a trilogy of straightforward yet key points of view. I'm pretty sure most of you haven't recently seen the breadth of what global insights companies can bring to you, so maybe it's good to start out with that and to use this as a call to arms and to discuss together what we can bring to you. As Ipsos, we've been working a lot on innovation, and we are recognized to be able to bring innovation to you a lot. We have global clients that are recognizing us for the effort that we put in and the new things that are at their fingertips today. And I would also really like to bring that to the Netherlands, to all the insights needs that we to satisfy all the insights needs that we have here locally. Some of those you've heard about a little bit today, but there's more. And we would like to continue the conversation with you. And we are now sharing with you what we believe consumer consciousness can do to help align us all strategically towards that single goal, which is to influence business outcomes better. It will help us describe the capabilities and the methodologies that you need to help you become customer obsessed as businesses. And And we've also created 3 distinct point of views on how you can become more consumer conscious. And those are available today. One of them is about transforming the insights function, where we present new thinking about how the insights function is changing and how you can elevate and we can help you elevate its impact in your organizations. It's about the value of insights, moving to impact, about how insights can be a source of information that truly inspires business growth. And it's about harnessing the power of data, show you how organizations are evolving to harness the power of data and technology for better insights. And that's why you also have Reineke here, who can really help you assess your current state in there. I would like to close off with an invitation, an open invitation, where I would like to ask you to join the conversation. And we'll be reaching out more actively in the coming months on that. Please get in touch with Reineke if you want to assess your level of consumer consciousness and the level of data insights maturity that you have in your organization. Or if you would like to understand more about, of course, all the new things that we can do for you. You can also go on our website that will be launched in the next hours, where you can download the new papers that we have, leave your contact details or whatever, get in touch with us and anonymously download the resources that we have in our repository. And also, I would like to announce that we're going to host a series of roundtables together with a media partner, where we are going to invite people that have the biggest impact in companies with insights in the insight functions. It will be by invitation only, but of course you can request a seat at those tables, because we want to put small groups of people in touch with each other, start to listen to the challenges on insights inside the companies even better. We would like to understand what is needed from the insights industry to respond and how that best can be delivered. And what we will also do, and that's quite unique, I think, is we will share the outcomes of these conversations for the benefit of the brands and the industry through our media partners. So we hope that therefore everybody will be joining our conversation. And for now, I would like to really thank you for your time and welcome you into the future of insights. Thank you. Perhaps there's any questions that we can take right now. Reineke, do you have access to the questions? I don't see any. Well, if not, then I really thank you again for all your time. We will close the webinar now, and we look forward to seeing you hopefully anytime soon.